Banking with Capital One helps you keep more money in your wallet with no fees or minimums on checking accounts and no overdraft fees. Just ask the Capital One Bank guy. It's pretty much all he talks about, in a good way. He'd also tell you that this podcast is his favorite podcast, too. Aw, really? Thanks, Capital One Bank guy. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
Hey, it's Mark Marin from WTF here to let you know that this podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. And I'm sure the reason you're listening to this podcast right now is because you chose it. Well, choose Progressive's Name Your Price tool, and you could find insurance options that fit your budget, so you can pick the best one for your situation. Who doesn't like choice? Try it at Progressive.com. And now, some legal info. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
If you're a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility and your machinery isn't working right, Grainger knows you need to understand what's wrong as soon as possible. So when a conveyor motor falters, Grainger offers diagnostic tools like calibration kits and multimeters to help you identify and fix the problem. With Grainger, you can be confident you have everything you need to keep your facility running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You've worked hard to build your business. SimpliSafe helps you protect it. With SimpliSafe for Business, AI-powered cameras watch over your entry points and instantly alert live monitoring agents. They can deter intruders before they get inside. It's protection built for growing companies. 24/7 monitoring, no contracts, and a 60-day money-back guarantee. To get 50% off your new system, go to simplysafe.com/podcast. That's simplysafe.com/podcast for 50% off. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
This is the Daily Tech News for Thursday, October 30th, 2025. We tell you what you need to know, give you all of the important context, and help each other understand.
Today, it is earnings palooza, but investors have some concerns about the sustainability of AI investments.
Yeah, they do. I'm Jason Howell.
And I'm Sarah Lane.
Let's start with what you need to know with the big story. All right, happy earnings day, everybody. Did you get your gifts all wrapped and everything? Oh, it's such a good day. We're going to try not to bog you down in a ton of numbers because I know people don't really enjoy that, myself included. But given that it's Microsoft, it's Alphabet, and it's Meta all sharing their quarterly earnings reports, why don't we take a few minutes to look closer at what they seem to point to kind of in an aggregate perspective. And Financial Times has a good article that kind of does this for us. So it's certainly what I read through along with the reports. And it really looks at each company's investments as a whole, but also really directed towards the AI infrastructure. Totals nearly $80 billion collectively between those three companies. That's a lot of dough going to AI infrastructure right now. Alphabet had record $100 billion in revenue. That made investors happy. Microsoft actually got some negative reaction, even in light of its own 39% revenue growth.
They wanted more, Jason. They wanted more.
They always want more. And you know what? And tomorrow it'll totally change, right? It's such a back and forth, rapid, tennis match.
A lot of knee-jerk stuff.
Exactly. Meta saw negative investor response to its own revenue growth of 26%. So, they're showing some growth here. But I think what the article points to, and kind of an interesting thing that we're seeing, is that these positive gains end up being overshadowed by, at least in this case, the sustainability of profit growth when you consider the uncertainty around each of those companies' investments in future cloud, yes, but also future artificial intelligence payoffs, right? Meta's spending heavily on its superintelligence pursuit, as we've talked about many times. They believe that the long-term promise of advanced AI will be worth the upfront cost. Alphabet and Microsoft, they're maybe taking a more balanced, focused approach. They're working toward more incremental advances of AI into their existing services. But in all those cases, investors seem to really be concerned about this rush to grab the lead in AI, and that might lead to a market correction. So everybody's really focused on the future, and they're doing what we hear about all the time, Sarah, in technology, which is we're spending the money now because we're going to make it up later. Is that what we're looking at here?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's what the company is going to say. Maybe you weren't happy with our 28% profit growth, but look at what we're investing in, so that by 2027 we're going to be in a greater place. I think that this points to what kind of happens with every, whether it's a startup or a major company. It's like you can't all be winners. There are going to be a couple winners in this race. Now, I'm not saying that AI can't exist in a variety of places, but when it comes to the big guys, the Amazon, the Alphabet, the Meta, the Apple, it's like you can't all win in the same way. You're going to have somebody who's like, all right, so they won. And that happens with kind of everything. It's like, does it happen? It's like Adobe Photoshop. You've got a lot of other options, but Photoshop is just sort of, that is the crown jewel of its category.
Kind of like the Kleenex of the category.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just reading yesterday about Amazon's huge new AI facility in Indiana, which is, it's massive. They built it in a year. And are continuing to build it. I know we're not talking about Amazon right now as far as earnings, but it's like, companies can throw a lot of money into something and get it, companies of this size rather, and get it up and running quite quickly. And it's sort of like, what's it for? Well, Amazon in its case is saying, this is could power, 1.5 million homes in a densely populated area, that sort of stuff. And I think that's where, myself included, sometimes we get into the weeds a little bit with AI, because I'm like, chatbots, don't you guys already have chatbots? Like, what are we doing here? But these companies are thinking way beyond that. This is not sort of like, oh, I want to write a research paper and use an assistant. This is like powering the world. So when you're a company of these sizes, then you have to spend a lot of money in order to be a competitor in the space.
Yeah. And I guess, the big question is, how long do investors, as they are interested in investing wisely and smartly, and especially in companies like this, they have a certain level of confidence that their investment is behind. How long are they backed up by that confidence when the companies continue to invest in the future of this direction? This is, the world being run on the AI, as you put it. And, like you see a company like Meta, and it's the moves that it's made in the last handful of months around its superintelligence division. It's like, okay, we're betting the farm on superintelligence. And then you hear about the layoffs in the superintelligence, because they're going back and forth. But yet so much of their R&D, so much of their money, the revenue that they're making and earning, and that's great, but so much is going out the door for this future promise. And how much patience do those investors actually have to kind of wait it out? And does this compare to other moments in technology? Are we looking, is this another indication of the bubble scenario that continues to come up around
I think
AI?
There's definitely an AI bubble going on. I think it points to, and a good reminder of the fact that we are in still such early days of all of this, that, throwing spaghetti at the wall, a lot of companies, if you've got the money, you do it. And then you figure out how to scale back later, which means, job losses in certain cases, which sucks, for some folks. But it's kind of like, let's just, we're going to war, guys. Get everybody together, see how many people we got. Yeah. And go from there. Yeah.
Interesting stuff. So there you go. There's your earnings palooza. See, we didn't bog you down with numbers.
We hope you enjoyed it. Well, DTNS is made possible by all of you listening right now. Thanks to AB Puppy, Dale McCahey, and Matt Zaglin.
Yeah, thank you, folks.
This episode is brought to you by Capital One. Capital One's tech team isn't just talking about multi-agentic AI. They already deployed one. It's called Chat Concierge, and it's simplifying car shopping. Using self-reflection and layered reasoning with live API checks, it doesn't just help buyers find a car they love. It helps schedule a test drive, get pre-approved for financing, and estimate trade-in value. Advanced, intuitive, and deployed. That's how they stack. That's technology at Capital One.
If you're a custodial supervisor at a local high school, you know that cleanliness is key. And that the best place to get cleaning supplies is from Grainger. Grainger helps you stay fully stocked on the products you trust, from paper towels and disinfectants to floor scrubbers. Plus, you can rely on Grainger for easy reordering, so you never run out of what you need. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You know what's wild? Most people are still overpaying for car insurance just because it's a pain to switch. That's why there's Jerry. Jerry is the only app that compares rates from over 50 insurers in minutes and helps you switch fast with no spam calls or hidden fees. Drivers who save with Jerry could save over $1,300 a year. Before you renew your car insurance policy, do yourself a favor. Download the Jerry app or head to jerry.ai/ACAST.
Skip the gym, not the workout. With Hydro, you get a full-body workout in just 20 minutes, hitting 86% of your muscles in one smooth, low-impact motion. And now there's the new Hydro Arc, Hydro's most advanced rower yet. Arc introduces Hydrometrics, tracking your power, endurance, and precision every time you row, so you can actually see your progress. Go to hydro.com and use code ROW to get $100 off any Hydro rower, including Arc. That's HYDROW.com, code ROW.
You've worked hard to build your business. SimpliSafe helps you protect it. With SimpliSafe for Business, AI-powered cameras watch over your entry points and instantly alert live monitoring agents. They can deter intruders before they get inside. It's protection built for growing companies. 24/7 monitoring, no contracts, and a 60-day money-back guarantee. To get 50% off your new system, go to simplisafe.com/podcast. That's simplisafe.com/podcast for 50% off. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
All right, there's more we need to know today. Let's get to the briefs.
After months of repeated and escalating tariffs and regulatory bans, the U.S. president met with the Chinese president to strike an agreement that puts in place a one-year truce that will help ease U.S. and China trade tensions. China will pause its limits on rare earth metal exports, while the U.S. is postponing new shipping fees to reduce cost pressures for tech companies that rely on Chinese manufacturing. And there are many. The leaders discussed NVIDIA AI chips business, but the U.S. president says they didn't discuss giving China access to NVIDIA's high-powered Blackwell AI chips.
Yeah, there had been some speculation that the U.S. might possibly approve shipments of those really high-end Blackwell chips, because that's been another kind of ongoing conversation or discussion around, you know, what China gets access to versus doesn't. Obviously, this is something that NVIDIA would like very much because NVIDIA wants its technology in all places. But it sounds like there's no real indication that took place, and that possibly those discussions, I think the U.S. president alluded to some of those discussions needing to happen between Beijing and NVIDIA directly. So.
Yeah, these, you know, the ongoing talks, it can be hard to follow.
I know,
even
totally.
if you're following it closely, because this all changes like the wind changes. But yeah, I can imagine if you're anybody in the executive team at NVIDIA right now, you are hoping very much for an outcome that is favorable to you.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, as you say, it changes like the wind, this stuff. I feel like anytime there's we've got a definitive, it's like a definitive with a very large asterisk next to it, because so often those definitives change, and we'll see what that means for this story too. Samsung released a beta version of its internet browser for Windows for the first time, with integrated Galaxy AI features that were previously only found on its premium Android devices. Not just premium. I mean, there's Samsung browsers on pretty much all of Samsung's Android devices. It can sync browsing data between Galaxy phones and Windows PCs, and has seamless resume browsing. So if you're browsing on one, you can pick up the other device and just resume where you left off between them. The Windows version adds anti-tracking features, also a browsing assist feature, an AI tool for summarizing and translating web pages, which is as I like to say, kind of table stakes for AI integrations these days. Users must register for the beta. You have to go into the Samsung developer portal and use a Samsung account. So if you don't have one, you have to create one. And it's users in South Korea and US to start, plans to expand to more markets soon. So are you going to change to a Samsung browser on your machine, Sarah?
No, but I have no issue with this in theory. I mean, is this something that you've signed up for? And I assume you've been part of the beta program.
I mean, I don't really have, well, I do somewhere. I have a Windows PC, but I don't really use it on a regular basis. So I haven't checked this out. I mean, I've used plenty of Samsung phones in the past, and I think there's a lot of overlap between what Samsung wants to do with its kind of ecosystem and what Apple does with its ecosystem. Samsung really wants to be in all the same kinds of places and have the same interoperability that the tightly controlled and just really kind of well-oiled machine that is Apple's ecosystem is, as an example. So this doesn't surprise me. Honestly, it surprises me that it took them this long to do it, to be honest.
I mean, I don't know. I don't see Samsung working with Windows as Apple working with Apple at all. But I get what you're saying. No,
it's more from the ecosystem for their devices front. They want their devices and their products to all talk and work cohesively with each other in a way that, like, Pixel devices, I guess you have the correlation between that and Chromebooks, but Samsung, they've got TVs, they've got all these things, and they really want them all to work together. And so a Samsung browser on a Windows PC just gives them another platform to say, see, we're in all the places. I guess that was my point.
Yeah. No, it's, I appreciate all the stuff that Samsung does, even though, well, I have a Samsung TV in my bedroom, which is very old, but, has been cooking along for, who even knows how long, 15 years or something. And otherwise, I don't have a lot of hands-on experience with Samsung products as of late. But for anybody out there who's like, no, this is great, and here's why, let us know. feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com.
Love it.
Google has implemented big changes to its Play Store policies in the U.S. following a court injunction in the Epic Games lawsuits. The lawsuit that will never end.
Never ends. My goodness.
Developers can now link to external stores offering direct payment options like credit cards and PayPal, and offering cheaper deals to its users outside of Google Play. Before these changes, Google's policies blocked developers from promoting or linking to alternative payment methods. Obviously, that upset some folks. So here we are.
Yeah, I mean, and this has got to sound familiar too, because Apple, has made similar changes recently. I'm curious, as an iOS user, you've kind of been living with. I'm assuming you've been living with some of the changes or experienced them. Have they impacted your experience from a user's perspective? Like, what have you noticed?
Not really, and here's why. I've got, my phone isn't right next to me right now, but I've got, I don't know, like 300 apps on that phone. Every time I get a new phone, I just do a cloud backup. And so there are a bunch of apps that I don't need that just continue to live on the phone. I am not installing a lot of stuff these days. I do here and there. Or there's an app that's weird and I have to reinstall it type thing. But that kind of, 30% cut, in Apple's case. And and I know the Google Play situation is similar, and companies like Epic saying like, "Hey, that's not cool." People should be able to have a choice. That doesn't really affect me because I've kind of gotten all the apps that I need there already. However, if I were to be wanting to, I don't know, download the Epic Games app. Which I don't have because I don't do a lot of gaming. And I had an opportunity to do that for a cheaper price. I mean, cheaper price, you're always going to have the cheaper price. That's the whole issue here, is that people don't understand that they have other options.
Yeah, totally.
It's like going to the grocery store and overpaying for apples. It's like you don't have to overpay for apples. You just go to the next grocery store and get the same apple for less.
If you know that going to the next,
I don't know why I said
apples.
That maybe it's confusing. Grapefruit.
Yeah, it's not an apples to apples comparison when we're talking grocery stores and technology companies.
Right. But
Actually,
it's it's kind of that whole thing. It's like, okay, you want your cut, that's cool, but give people another option if they want to care enough to know about what their options are, and that's where this is all going. And I think that it's a good thing. I don't feel like, oh, poor Apple, poor Google. They're not going to get, as much of the cut of these sales. I really just, they don't, they were abusing power. That's what I think.
At the end of the day, this is a pro user change, and
yes,
it might be hard for Apple and Google to have to change how they do their business, but I think it's good for the users, and so I'm curious to see what that means in practice once I see it on my Android phone at some point. I'm sure I will. But like you, I'm not installing like insane amounts of new apps either. I have the same apps that travel with me every time I set up a new phone. I need to like spend an afternoon and whittle it down because it's out of hand.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I probably on any given day, I use like maybe 5 apps, maybe, and they're not even all on my home screen. I just search for them. They're in there somewhere. But it's all, everybody has different routines.
For sure. Universal Music Group has settled with Udio. Udio is the AI music generation service. This is a deal that will result in a new subscription platform on Udio to allow music fans to create music using licensed songs. Universal had accused Udio of copyright infringement for training its AI on copyrighted tracks. Now under the deal, Universal artists must approve. They have the ability to approve their inclusion, first of all. And then all user generated content has to stay within the Udio platform. So that's interesting. Artists and labels will get paid when their music is used for AI training and remixes on the platform as well. Udio's new service is expected to launch next year. Details of the financial terms were not released. I have a feeling we're going to see a lot more deals like this, because I think fans would love the ability to kind of play with some of their favorite artists' music in an AI generated way, and doing that in a way that doesn't respect the artists, like that's not sustainable. And so this is a move towards that.
Yeah. This is very much a handshake agreement of like, okay, let's let the Udio users have some fun. I don't totally understand staying within the Udio platform. I guess if you kind of think of it as a social network where you hang out and just share fun things back and forth with friends, that's fine. But that does limit, the functionality a bit. But yes, I am not surprised about this at all. I would have been shocked if UMG and Udio went to battle in court and Udio won and said, we're just training AI on copyrighted music. It's like, that's not going to fly. So, and I haven't played around with this stuff really at all. I don't know if you have, Jason. I mean, I did when, what's the other one? Suno. I think it's, Suno and Udio, similar.
They're the primary ones. Yeah.
And played around, was like, oh, this is fun, but it's not really something that I'm doing, for work or, for my livelihood. And so it's kind of like a novelty for me. For other people, it might make a lot more sense and be be something that they're actually using to make money in some way. And that's where it gets kind of squirrely, right? It's like Universal is like, wait a second, if this turns into something that's not just a fun hobby, like, look what I did with the song, and turns into something where someone's making money, well, we want some of that money.
And I think that's key in why they want to keep it on the platform, because if I'm on there creating, a new, why am I suddenly blanking? I can't name a single artist, but if I'm on there and I'm making a track from my favorite artist, whoever it is, Tom Petty, sure, let's go that way. And I then am able to export that song and then upload it to Spotify. Like, that's no good, right? And so I think that's what they're protecting here by saying it's got to stay within the platform. We're going to create a sandbox for you to do all this stuff in, but the music that you create in Tom Petty's voice can't go anywhere but here, because here we can control it. We have ways of compensating. Once it leaves here, we've lost control of it. And someone might think that's an actual Tom Petty song and you're making money because you uploaded it to Spotify. That's my guess anyways.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm very curious to see how that transpires. Finally, we have some quick headlines that are just good to know if you want to understand the news in the future.
As mentioned briefly yesterday, Sora has started rolling out a bunch of new features, including character cameos, clip stitching for connecting multiple videos together, and easing up on its invitation code requirements for a limited time.
Have to check those out. WhatsApp is adding passkey support to its cloud chat backups, which can be found inside settings. You go into settings, there's a new option in the chat backup section that enables end-to-end encrypted backup, and you can use passkeys to access.
Virgin Media O2 will launch the UK's first smartphones with automatic Starlink-powered satellite connectivity service in remote areas, starting first with message and data services, and then with phone calls coming at a later date.
Figma acquired Weavy. That's a service that allows users to combine various different mix and match image and video generation models together for a more advanced AI-driven editing kind of approach. So they're going to integrate that with plans to integrate it into its platform under the new Figma Weave brand.
And finally, we alluded to the possibility on yesterday's show, and now one day later, multiple sources are telling Reuters that OpenAI is actively laying the groundwork for an IPO that could target around $1 trillion. Yes, you heard that right. I said trillion with a T. The largest IPO ever, if it happens, which it probably will.
If it happens. Yeah, I think so.
If you have feedback about anything that gets brought up on this show, get in touch with us on the socials. We are at DTNS Show on X, Instagram, and Threads, Blue Sky, and Mastodon. For TikTok and YouTube, you can find us at Daily Tech News Show.
This episode is brought to you by Capital One. Capital One's tech team isn't just talking about multi-agentic AI. They already deployed one. It's called Chat Concierge, and it's simplifying car shopping. Using self-reflection and layered reasoning with live API checks, it doesn't just help buyers find a car they love. It helps schedule a test drive, get pre-approved for financing, and estimate trade-in value. Advanced, intuitive, and deployed. That's how they stack. That's technology at Capital One.
Hey, it's Maya and Sim from the Girls That Invest podcast. If you are an IT or security pro, you know managing devices, identities, and applications can feel overwhelming and honestly risky. That's where Trellica by 1Password comes in. It helps conquer SaaS sprawl and shadow IT by discovering every app your team uses, managed or not. With pre-built app profiles, you can assess risk, manage access, and even optimize your software spend. Plus, it simplifies onboarding, offboarding, and compliance, all while cutting costs by eliminating unused licenses. Take the first step to better security for your team. Learn more at onepassword.com/special offer.
We end every episode of DTNS with some shared wisdom, and today Brad has a shocking revelation about using LLMs to create fake receipts.
Yeah, Brad says, you are telling me that using LLMs to create fake receipts. Say it isn't so. Just kidding. All that aside, there are very valid reasons to create receipts from LLMs. Well, sort of valid reasons, says Brad. As somebody that travels about 29 weeks per year for my business expense system, it demands receipts for anything over a certain dollar amount. When I can't get a receipt from the vendor, I typically create one in Google Docs. However, I've begun to use OpenAI or Gemini to do this now, and it works great. Much faster than me having to type the required information for a receipt, especially if the vendor in question has a website that the LLM can crawl. just thought I'd share this non-criminal use of receipt generation by an LLM use case. Love the show and all that makes it possible. Thank you, Brad. And yeah,
I just don't know about that. I don't know. I mean, I realize you said non-criminal use, and I'm not saying that it is criminal use, but there's something a little weird about that, right? Like the receipt, it's not the real receipt.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, I guess that's a tough one. That's a tough one.
It is a tough one. It's a gray area for sure.
Obviously Brad does a lot of travel, certainly more than me. So, and I'm very used to, on the company dime, going out to dinner, with the folks, and, one of us picks up the tab and it's like, okay, this is what I'm going to submit. This is a receipt, a physical receipt with my signature on it type thing. I guess there's not much you can do about that. But if you are working with various vendors on the road and somehow, OpenAI or Gemini in Brad's case can make sense of that and cut down his workload, well, that's interesting. But yeah, I kind of don't get it either, Jason. Well, what we do get is what you are thinking about, because you send us your feedback all the time. We want more of that. If you have insight into a story, if you have a story like Brad, who's saying, hey, receipts, you got to love LLMs for this. Share it with us. feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com.
Yeah, big thanks to Brad for sending that in and contributing to today's show. Thank you for being along for Daily Tech News Show. You can keep us in business by becoming a patron at patreon.com/DTNS. We'll see you tomorrow.
The DTNS family of podcasts, helping each other understand.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
This episode is brought to you by Capital One. Capital One's tech team isn't just talking about multi-agentic AI, they already deployed one. It's called Chat Concierge, and it's simplifying car shopping. Using self-reflection and layered reasoning with live API checks, it doesn't just help buyers find a car they love. It helps schedule a test drive, get pre-approved for financing, and estimate trade-in value. Advanced, intuitive, and deployed. That's how they stack. That's technology at Capital One.
If your dog could talk, they'd beg for Ollie. The full-body tail wag, the excited little hops, the big, goofy grin, that's the Ollie effect. Ollie delivers clean, fresh nutrition in 5 drool-worthy flavors, even for the pickiest eaters. Made in U.S. kitchens with high-quality, human-grade ingredients, Ollie's food contains no fillers, no preservatives, just real food. Just fill out Ollie's 30-second quiz and they'll create a customized meal plan based on your pup's weight, activity level, and other health info. Dogs deserve the best, and that means fresh, healthy food. Head to ollie.com/healthypup, tell them about your dog, and use code HEALTHYPUP to get 60% off your welcome kit when you subscribe today. Plus, they offer a happiness guarantee on the first box, so if you're not completely satisfied, you'll get your money back. That's OLLIE.com/healthypup and enter code HEALTHYPUP to get 60% off your first box.